What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the Blockbuster deal that just dropped. Literally today. Just dropped. I just got a notification on the phone, so you guys are going to get a fresh perspective of the deal. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below who won this trade. Was it the Knicks? Was it the Timberwolves? And then this trade is not fully complete yet, so you're getting a fresh perspective. There might be more to come. So without further ado, let's get right on into this. So we can see here, Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be a Knick. The Timberwolves are going to get Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, as well as a first-round pick via Detroit. Now, this trade is not fully finalized. It is expanding as we officially are speaking. That first-round pick is top 13 protected in 2025. Now, let's just talk about the initial reactions, the breakdown of Karl-Anthony Towns going from the Timberwolves to the Knicks. My first reaction, I was like, wow, like a shocker that the Knicks would give up one of the Villanova boys. But then you realize Julius Randle, as I've spoke about in previous videos, was never really going to fit this roster because you had Josh Hart, you had Jalen Brunson, you had Mikal Bridges, you had OG. That's 4 players right there. And that doesn't even include Julius Randle or DiVincenzo. There's going to be a lot of time that's going to be taken up by those guys. So with DiVincenzo being a very high value player right now, just because he shot the ball so well in the playoffs last year, as well as Julius Randle having some value because he was an all-NBA caliber player, they looked at, let's upgrade our power forward / center position because we need a power forward / center. Let's take a look at the Knicks roster right now. Before, it's not updated because the deal is not fully done, right? So take out Julius Randle, take out DiVincenzo. You now have a roster of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, which I would assume they probably start Josh Hart with this roster. So you have Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, then you have OG, and then you have Cat playing the 5. So, and then you have Mitchell Robinson, and you have Miles McBride, as well as other guys like Precious Achiuwa coming off the bench. Jericho Sims is still here. Players like that. Now, they might look to just have a hard-hitting Josh Hart coming off the bench with Miles McBride, but let's just base it off their current roster right now. So you look at Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG, and then you have Cat, who's replacing Julius Randle, and then you have Mitchell Robinson. That's a solid starting 5. The problem that you've always had with Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle was the floor spacing. Julius Randle not being the greatest three-point shooter. Cat shoots the ball at a higher, better percentage than Julius Randle, as well as he spaces the floor a lot better. He's a better passer, better playmaker than Julius Randle was and needs to be for this roster. Jalen Brunson is going to play really well alongside Karl-Anthony Towns, the guy that can be adaptable. When you're ending games, Mitchell Robinson is probably going to be coming off the bench for most of the end games that you're not playing Embiid or Jokic, because Cat can be that 5. When you're playing the Lakers and Anthony Davis, you're probably going to put Cat on him versus a Mitchell Robinson. And then on the offensive end, that's going to help you spread the floor that much more when you have Josh Hart ending the games with, those top 3 guys as well as Cat. That's a phenomenal roster right there that you're looking at. The Knicks are looking to, although they did break up the Nova boys, they're looking to win now and win in a mode that can help them out. They're adapting to today's game as well, saying that Tom Thibodeau just looking at this roster and saying, what do we need? We need spacing. We need three-point shooting. Julius Randle was a big question mark going into this with his injury from last year. Will he fit it and everything like that? So they say, no, let's upgrade and let's go get Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, I know a lot of Timberwolves, the initial reaction I saw on Twitter was, and from a few buddies and everything, was, why would the Timberwolves do this to a guy that you drafted, you developed, and everything like that? And I'm about to explain that. The Timberwolves, they had a lot of money tied into 3 players. They had a lot of money tied into Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. So it was tough when you start looking at this bench. It was tough at looking at depth. So what do? You go for a 2-for-1. You trade a guy that realistically is probably the most replaceable guy on the roster, in my opinion. A guy that got into a lot of foul trouble, a guy that turned over the ball at like he just kind of gets frustrated a lot, gives up on plays a decent amount. Now, he's a great player. Karl-Anthony Towns is a great player, but realistically, in my opinion, I don't think that he necessarily was the perfect fit here. Is Julius Randle a fit? Maybe, maybe not. I think that he can adapt his game a little bit, and I think if you need to eventually start Naz Reid instead of Julius Randle, there is that option there. But now you have an opportunity, too, where you bring in Donte DiVincenzo, and you might be able to have a lineup that is Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Donte DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniel playing the 4, and then Rudy Gobert playing the 5. Off your bench, you got guys like Naz Reid, Julius Randle, Joe Ingles, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr. One thing that the Timberwolves had a problem with was guys that were able to get their own shot. You couldn't get that out of Rudy Gobert a lot. You couldn't get it out of Jaden McDaniels. Mike Conley isn't the same guy he once was. So how did they address that? They went and got a guy, all-NBA caliber player, Julius Randle, who's not afraid to go get his own shot. They went and drafted or traded for Rob Dillingham on draft night, who's a bucket getter. You then drafted Terrence Shannon Jr., who Rob Dillingham was in like the 95th percentile at getting his own bucket. Terrence Shannon Jr. is in like the 85th percentile. So you got some of the top bucket getters in the draft. You bring them on this roster. And then you just pair those guys, give them time to develop off the bench, because realistically, expecting rookies to come in day one and then Western Conference Finals comes around the corner and they're not fully ready because it's year one. Now you have some depth where you don't necessarily need to rely on a Rob Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr. to necessarily come in year one game, Western Conference Finals and put up decent buckets. You now have the opportunity where if Mike Conley, who's older in age, does come down with an injury, you have replaceable players, Rob Dillingham, Donte DiVincenzo. You've got, if Rudy Gobert goes down with an injury, you've got Julius Randle there to play a little small ball 5. There's a ton of opportunity here. It is adjustable, and that's what I really like about this deal. Overall, my big winner between both teams, I believe personally that the Timberwolves are the winner of this deal. They get a first-round pick in this deal as well for this next year's upcoming draft, which I think is actually a decent draft. Yes, it's pretty top-heavy protected as it's top 13 from the Pistons, so it's probably going to convey to next year's, to 2026's class. But what I will say is it's an opportunity that's worth risking. You go and you get Donte DiVincenzo, who shot the ball very well from the three-point line, going to help you a lot with the spacing. You go get Julius Randle, which was an all-NBA player. And if you're the Knicks, why you did this, you go get the star power heavy Karl-Anthony Towns, and you didn't necessarily need Donte DiVincenzo or Julius Randle on this roster. Overall, I would give the Timberwolves the upper side just because of that depth that they now have and not necessarily the necessity of a need of Karl-Anthony Towns. But it's pretty close. I would say it's about 60-40 who won the trade. I would say I would give 60% edge to the Timberwolves, 40% edge to the Knicks as they acquired Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, this could change too, because this trade is not fully done. This could change to where a third team comes in with the Pistons or, the Hawks or the Heat or somebody else comes in and more players are getting involved. It expands even farther to where you end up, we'll see what's up with Brandon Ingram, we'll see what's up with Jimmy Butler, etc. Like, this could be a huge trade. As we've seen in the past, big trades, they can shake up the league. But right now, as the trade stands, I don't think it's going to be huge with multiple stars other than the Knicks and the Timberwolves sending stars out. I don't think we're going to see Brandon Ingram or something. That was just, hypothetical. But overall, I like this trade for both rosters. I understand some of the Knicks fans being a little upset. You broke up the Nova Boys, everything like that. But you're trying to win a championship. You're going to try and upgrade your roster as much as you can to win that championship. So, overall, if you guys did enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on what you think of this trade. Who won it? Was it the Timberwolves? Was it the Knicks? Let's have a conversation in the comments down below. So with that being said, it's been another Heart Over Height episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.